If you've never owned a business, the easiest type of loan to get approved for will be the SBA 7A for an approved franchisor. I have a list. It'll be at Business Loan 365 or Commercial-Coach, but I'm happy to email anybody who wants to get a hold of us. You know, my email, bdietz@charlottecp.com. I can get them the list of approved franchisors, but if you just went to Google and typed in SBA 7A approved franchisors, the list will come up. So the easiest thing to get approved for, if you haven't owned a business before and there's no real estate secured by it, is to get involved with a franchise that the SBA has already approved, and there's thousands of them on that list. At least hundreds, maybe not thousands, maybe 1,000 total, but there's a lot on there. So on the Powerhouse Gym, if your client has experience in managing health places, fitness places, did you say Gold's Gym?
Powerhouse Gym.
Powerhouse Gym. If Powerhouse is on the SBA approved list and these people have experience in managing gyms, absolutely they can get approved. Now, if they don't have experience in managing a Powerhouse, but Powerhouse is on the SBA list, they can still get approved. What do they need to do? They need to make sure that their management team has real strong biographies so that the bank can say, hey, he's buying a Powerhouse Gym. He's got managers and trainers and bookkeepers in there that have worked inside the Powerhouse Gym system or something very similar to that. You know, showing the lender, here's why it's going to be a success. Here's how we're going to be able to pay back that loan. And typically to qualify for a loan and franchise, people say, well, how do you do that if it's not an existing franchise location I'm buying? Well, to qualify for that loan, we'll request a UFOC from the franchisor, or the borrower will already have that. The prospective franchisee will have that UFOC, which stands for the Uniform Franchise Offering Circular.
Okay.
And inside that, there's pro formas in there, and that's what we'll use to underwrite that loan, because the franchises that are approved by the SBA already have proven that they have a track record for success. And that's typically why people are getting involved with a franchise, to be on their own but not alone, that cliche saying, to have a proven formula, let's say, even though we know nothing's guaranteed in this world. So it's underwritten off the financials, that the projected performers that come inside the UFOC. And, banks would rather lend to people that have a history of running a similar operation successfully, and that kind of covers what we were talking about before. So if you have experience, great. If you don't, you better have a management team in place and be really looking at a franchise. That's kind of how you do it if you've never owned a business before. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense, and it makes total sense, and I appreciate that. I think you touched on it before, but why don't you tell me minimum and maximum loan amounts and what type of terms are available? I think you touched on it before, but let's make sure that everybody listening understands, what the parameters are. So if they're out there looking to buy a business or what have you, they know, what they can spend and can't spend.
Yeah, some numbers for people to pencil out when they're looking at buying a business or getting involved in a franchise. On the SBA 7A, the loan amounts are $250,000 up to $2 million. On the SBA 504, which I know we're really not talking about today, where the real estate is included, that is $500,000 to $5 million. So on the SBA 7A, the business only loan, the term is 10 years. And obviously it's going to correspond with the lease agreement on the building that they don't own is going to be important to look at. So you want to get a draft of a potential lease from where your franchise or business will be located. And you're looking at anywhere from 15 to 25% down. Obviously, the stronger the franchise, the stronger the financials, the stronger the borrower's credit score, then they have a chance of putting 15% down. But to be safe, when penciling out your numbers, I would suggest 20% down, amortized over 10 years, and a rate of, you can get the prime rate out of the Wall Street Journal and add 200 to 300 basis points on top of that, or 2 or 3%. That's pretty much the general parameters. And on the SBA 504 loan, since I mentioned it, the terms on that are amortized over 25 years, but that's for another call. But those are the basic terms right there.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. All right, so give me a general idea of like what type of clients you're seeing come to you with these kind of requests, just so our audience can get a better understanding of, hey, you know, I do fit this, I don't fit this type of program.
Yeah, there's generally two types, Ray, at least what we're seeing now, what's in the pipeline. A lot of existing business owners that are looking to add new locations to their existing business. For example, we have a lady who has 2 locations, successful locations, daycare centers, and she's looking to acquire a competitor location that's for sale. They just haven't managed it properly. She knows she can turn it around and get the numbers looking like her 2 successful locations. So she's acquiring a 3rd location for growth. So existing business owners, and that's the one type. And then the other area or channel is consists of baby boomers and people who were laid off that are looking to replace some of the household income. Baby boomers like to follow really the franchise system. They like systems, strategies and tactics that are all in place that they just need to follow and put their own personal touch into, and they really seem to be loving the franchise world. And then people who have been downsized and are not looking to craft a new product or a business idea from scratch, they're also their area of expertise or their passion, something that they've been involved in, they're getting into the franchise world because it makes more sense for them. So again, to recap, new business owners that are looking to expand, and then baby boomers and people that have been downsized that are getting into the franchise business, franchise opportunities. And that's really generally what I see right now. But it's really, the loan's great for all types of entrepreneurs.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, corporate people and, even people who have been in a structured work environment could probably really take to this, especially when you're talking about franchises, because although they're becoming an entrepreneur, they have a structure to follow that I'm sure is going to bring them some comfort. So that's interesting to know, and I'm sure our readers will appreciate that. One other thing, Blaise, before we get going, and I don't want to get too technical, but maybe you could give our listeners some of the underwriting guidelines, with the caveat that, some of them aren't going to understand it, and, then maybe you could